Good evening. This is Live at 5.
The pandemic of white racism and bigotry and prejudice. It is time, as we stand here this morning at this memorial, to show our solidarity with the family, that we all say enough is enough.
As the late George Perry Floyd's remains is to be laid to rest on June 9, 2020, the Ghana Tourism Authority, the African Diaspora Forum, together with the Ghana Coalition of Diaspora, have held a memorial service in his memory on June 5, 2020, in Accra, Ghana. The memorial service, which was held at Du Bois Center, gathered diasporans across the world who came out in their numbers to pledge their solidarity. Dignitaries like Honorable Barbara Otinjesi, Minister for Tourism, Arts and Culture, United States Ambassador to Ghana, Her Excellency Sidney Sullivan, the Director of the Diaspora Affairs Office of the President, Akwesi Ewua Abebio, and Nadia Adongo, his deputy, President of the African American Association of Ghana, Jessica Ayivo, Dr. Lawrence Tete, and other dignitaries graced the occasion in memory of George Perry Floyd and every other black person who has died in the hands of white police.
On this solemn occasion, as we observe the memorial service in honor of our brother George Floyd, who was painfully murdered in the United States of America. I am here today to extend to you from His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo a very warm welcome to you who have joined us for this event. George Floyd, a 46-year-old black man, was cruelly murdered on 25th May 2020 in the United States. The President of Ghana has made his views on this very sad event well known to the international community. On a personal note, and on behalf of the African diaspora, and more specifically, the Ghanaian diasporan community, please accept our deepest condolences.
My sister, Dr. Tony Luck, called this morning to pray with me. She said, black women don't cry. She said, the women, Rosa Parks, and she called the name and the role. And she said, these are women who stand up for justice, who stand up for peace and equality. So I'm going to try not to cry this morning. But when you think of why we're here today, when you think of the systemic injustices, racial injustices in the United States, it's very difficult not to cry. When you have a son and daughters in America who wake up every day and is fearful of the police, is fearful of the justice system in America, it's difficult not to cry. Gianna, the 6-year-old daughter of George Perry Floyd, said, Daddy will change the world. And Daddy is changing the world. The outpouring of what we've seen around the world, the outpouring of love, the outpouring of, I am sorry that this is happening. We don't understand what you've been going through as African African Americans, Daddy is changing the world.
The Bible says in Ecclesiastes 4:10 that if either of them falls, let a companion lift them up. But pity is the one who falls and has nobody to lift him up. Last year on these sacred grounds where we have the remains of the great W.E. Du Bois, we gathered. On these solemn grounds, as part of the year of return, our president had invited the global African family to come home to the motherland. And indeed, they responded. We responded. You responded. And we gathered as one. And so today, if one of us has fallen, we gather again to lift him up.
Wreaths were later laid at the ceremony in honor of Floyd. One wreath was laid on behalf of the African American community in Ghana by Dr. Erica Bennett, the AU ambassador to Ghana. A second wreath was laid by the CEO of Ghana Tourism Authority, Mr. Akwesi Agyeman, and a third wreath was laid on behalf of the Ghana government by Honorable Barbara Otin Jesse, Minister for Tourism. Late George Floyd's name was later unveiled on the Sankofa wall, which is meant for African diasporan heroes and heroines, bringing back their spirits to settle in Africa, which is their original home. After the unveiling of George's name on the Sankofa wall, a Ghanaian kente sash that has his name weaved on it was unveiled to be sent to his family in the United States of America.
Basically, it's the kente cloth. And
yes, so we had the master weavers weave a special kente cloth in honor and memory of our beloved brother George Perry Floyd. And this was invoking his spirit back to the motherland, let him know that he's loved and celebrated here. So not where we're tolerated, but where we're celebrated. We want everybody coming home. So that's why we did the kente in his honor.
And basically that kente will be delivered to the family along with a letter, a personal letter from the President of the Republic of Ghana, which will give our condolences from Africa to the family.
They were here last year. African American brothers were here. They responded to the call of the president. And so when they are mourning, we can't just enjoy, and when it's time to mourn, that we sit back. No, we have to arise because they are part of us. They are our heartbeat, and we need them to know that we love them. And that's how we wove the kente cloth in their honor. Thank you.
And that, again, we don't just celebrate, we mourn with our brothers and sisters around the world. One of the things that the minister says that was very compelling to me was that this is not just for those in America. This is for all the diasporians all over the world who have experienced any injustice. What we're saying today is enough is enough. And the world is coming with us.
Some of the attendees shared their thoughts.
I'm very thankful for the country of Ghana, for the president of Ghana, to facilitate this type of event. I think it's extremely important.
Well, I think this was a wonderful program to honor George Floyd. I mean, me being African American and now living in Ghana, it was very important for us to show that Ghanaians and Black Americans and African Americans, that we are all one and we all stand together. George Floyd is not the first African American to be brutalized and killed by the police, but he was the straw that broke the camel's back, and I'm glad that we're coming together out here to honor him and what our people are going through back in America.
For Ghana to do a memorial for George Floyd, I think it's necessary to show the world that Africans are standing together for Black people all over the world, and I think it's positive. I think it's a good step. And I think some of the things that we need to continue to do is to educate ourselves about white supremacy and about systematic oppression in America for Black people. Because it doesn't matter if you're from Ghana, Congo, Senegal, or Ivory Coast, or Sierra Leone. But if you walk in the streets of America, you're a black man, and you'll be treated as such. And if people aren't clear how black men and women are treated, you saw that with a knee in the neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. So, unfortunately, it took this to happen. It took a traumatic experience of us watching a man die on TV before the whole world got upset. But racism isn't new. These things aren't new. They're very, very old. They're as old as America. In fact, they're ingrained in the fabric of America. It's just that it's being televised and shown around the world, and we can see it in its cruel and gruesome nature live up close in 4K color vision. We see African people dying, so I'm happy they charged the 4 officers. All of their charges need to be upgraded, and then they need to go find the officers who killed Breonna Taylor and put them in jail. And they need to make sure they prosecute the racists who killed Ahmaud Arbery. And we can go on and on with the number of names, but it won't end until we have some systematic changes.
You can see on the wall boldly, George Perry Floyd's name has been pasted on the wall, on the Sankofa wall, to invite his spirit in Africa, because according to his last words, he screamed his mama's name, telling her he is coming. And that is why his name has been pasted on the Sankofa wall, just like other heroes like Mary Mackay, Bertha Brown, Margaret Mitchell, Queen Swain, Frederick Presta, Marion Edward, Conrad Ganskin, and then we have James Clark Strong, Neil Franklin, Mary Sidell, Theresa Davids, Louis Baylor, and many more. All these names have been mounted on the Sankofa wall to invite them back to Africa, to invite their spirit to live in Africa. For DNT News, Taufik Abdul Nasser reporting from Du Bois Center.